the list, a little similar to one Brad championed, I think, a week or so ago. I'm not sure. I honestly haven't read Brad's latest article on the topic. So the big changes are only to the sideboard. That's about all he messes with these days.
No. You're a busy man. I'm sure he'll forgive you for not getting to it immediately. And so Tyrell Wheeler, his opponent, is playing a blue-white-red flash.
And he is on Aurelia, the War Leader, as opposed to Boros Reckoner, a shift that Jerry Thompson has gone on record as saying he dislikes significantly. Doesn't know how anyone wins with Aurelia. Let's see if Tyrell figures out a way.
So we've gone land go, and Teddy is now playing a Blood Artist. He's setting up a Sacrifice Engine. He's got Lingering Souls in his hand. Looks like he's also got a Boros Reckoner, and is that an Obsidat? I think it's
an Obsidat. He has a Council of Ghosts up there.
Yep. We also have a Orzhov Charm and possibly a second Lingering Souls over there. Tyrell is playing a Augur of Bolas.
Land Restoration Angel, that's a brick.
Yeah.
And a sad brick. Those are the cards you want to draw with this deck. Pillar Flame for the Blood Artist is a nice one.
Doesn't even trigger because it doesn't die.
That's accurate.
And Teddy does not have a third land.
Yeah, that's tough in this matchup. You actually board in an extra land if you... Teddy's deck list has a Cavern of Souls in the sideboard for the purpose of when you bring in all those 5-drops, principally Obsidat and Thundermaw Hellkite, because against the control decks, it both makes them uncounterable and helps ensure you cast them, which really you couldn't ask for more from a land, I don't think.
So Teddy's going to have a chance to catch up here because Tyrell is not going to be able to close things out.
Yeah, he's playing Blue-White Red Flash. It's a slow strategy. It relies on generating a lot of card advantage for a long game. He does, however, have all these pillars. He's keeping the board clean, and he has a Sphinx's Revelation already in his hand. So once he starts getting those rolling, which I would expect to begin on the next turn, to be honest, Teddy's going to be needing to catch up fast. So this is the start.
Teddy draws his third land. It's a Godless Shrine that's going to enable him to cast the Boros Reckoner, or potentially a Lingering Souls. Looks like he's going to go for the Lingering Souls. Possibly baiting a counterspell here because he believes the Boros Reckoner is more important, or just worried about not opening himself up to Wrath of God.
I think in this matchup, the ability to go to the face is actually just really valuable for the Aristocrat. So he doesn't want to expose Boros Reckoner as an aggressor that will get Wrath the first time around. Really wants to hold him. Hopefully just force his opponent to play a Verdict and then drop a Reckoner when he can untap and threaten an act on the next turn, or something along those lines.
Or just be able to combo kill.
Yeah, in a single turn. Yeah. That's difficult in this particular matchup because Blue-White Red Flash is so creature light that actually getting enough guys on the board to Blasphemous Act on the cheap is very tough.
Although with 2 Lingering Souls ready for flashback, that may be an option.
He can definitely build himself a pseudo ritual that way.
So we did see Tyrell cast the Sphinx's Revelation on the turn that you predicted it. And
drew another one along with an Is It Staticaster, which is a stone
that's
blowout.
A big game.
Yeah. That's about just a disaster for Teddy. Can't really think of anything worse.
We've got the get these out of here motion from Tyrell. All right.
A Thundermaw Hellkite is no good.
Yeah.
He's into a corner now. Boros Reckoner is really the only play he has available. I think he has a Cartel Aristocrat in his hand as well, but that's pretty mediocre in the matchup without some kind of backup to keep it protected.
Yeah, it looks like he's drawing a second Obsidat, so he's really 5-flooded over there.
He's rolling on 5s, but I don't think that he's actually locked out of the match, if he gets one of those guys down, Obsidat can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Tyrell's basically going to be forced to race it.
Yep. And so we see a 4th land draw on Teddy's part. Given that you have 2 Obsidats, do you just start running them out, or do you wait to hit one of your caverns in order to guarantee that it's not going to be countered?
I think you just got to run them out, especially when you're so far behind in this particular game. He's going to go ahead and lead Aristocrat here. He's not going to have a chance to play it, ideally, if this game continues. Oh.
So we have yet another static caster, so now all the 2 toughness creatures are in the danger zone. And Tyrell continues with the anemic Augur of Bolas beatdown. Yeah,
I think he has an Aurelia in his hand, which I wouldn't be surprised to see that come down next turn after he Sphinx's Revs during the end step on this turn, as that'll put Teddy on a really steep clock.
Yeah. And by waiting a turn, he's able to leave up some counter magic in order to handle something. So we do see the Cavern of Souls drawn by Teddy, and he's able to make his Obsidat uncounterable. The question is that going to be good enough against the Aurelia?
Cavern on Spirit. I prefer Advisor, but you know, that's just me.
Well, you got to be able to get your Cartellidor scripts.
Yeah, got to dodge
as well.
those spell snares. The Sphinx's Revelation does indeed resolve. Tyrell going up a fair bit on life and certainly on cards in hand, and now he's setting some options up for himself, wants to see what he can do. Looks like he's interested in keeping Moorland Haunt available. An attack with Aurelia this turn is 8, which threatens exactly lethal next turn if Obsidat blinks out again and Teddy has nothing.
So Teddy's going to go down to 6 here. His upkeep is going to go back up to 8 from Obsidat. Tyrell's going to go down to 16. And at this point, like, does he... I mean, he just needs chump blockers. He needs something to deal with that Aurelia immediately.
He has to kill Aurelia. He does have Orzhov Charm. I imagine he's just going to be forced to play it.
Yep.
Take the 3, go to 3. But, you know, that's all Tyrell has. Like, he can just defeat that Augur Pulse racing with the Obsidat. It's actually not that bad for him.
So we have the Orzhov Charm, and then we potentially can get in with Obsidat. I'm not sure if we wanted to open ourselves up to an Azorius Charm here.
I think that we can't really afford to do that this turn. Next turn, we could maybe afford to do it.
The life gain is just too important at this point. We don't want to open ourselves up to any more, especially going down to 4 here.
It is also theoretically possible that you just decide this is one of those games where you're just going to get insanely lucky to win, and that's why you jam there. I don't think Teddy's right in that spot yet. I think he can actually still legitimately win this game, as crazy as it seems.
I think I disagree with you. I think we're in the insanely lucky point of the game right here. I mean, you look at the number of cards in Tyrell's hand. You know, his primary win condition isn't necessarily Augur Bolus beat down, yet that is what is threatening to take over right now. And
I do agree with that. The reason I say it is the blue-white red deck is not really, you know, capable of capitalizing against an Obsidat especially. It's not good at racing it. It's one of the reasons that it's, you know, part of Brad's sideboard strategy. It's so powerful in the matchup against both this deck and Esper. It just changes the game a lot. And you see how now this Augur is basically shut down. It's not actually effectively racing. Tyrell's leaning on these Is It Staticasters, and they're sweet and all, but eventually Teddy will find a Blasphemous Act. He'll be able to get rid of those, and then his Lingering Souls will still exist. They'll come back. So Tyrell is actually under pressure to find a new threat in order to start closing things out. And the race changes here with a Thundermaw Hellkite as well.
Yep. And Teddy is playing around the Azorius Charm here.
Booster grab number 14.
Tyrell's going to try and find one.
Think twice.
Finds it.
Finds it. Yep.
That's a good card for him. He's going to go ahead. Well, actually, it's not even that great because his plan is to Moorland Haunt this turn in the end step to get in an additional damage. So if he Azorius Charms the Thundermaw Hellkite, he's just going to lose his Spirit on the next turn.
Yep. Which
is awkward, but it's probably better than taking 5 damage. In fact, he may go with a Think Twice flashback instead if he doesn't prioritize that point of damage.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have... Yeah, so, sorry. So we flashback Think Twice, draw an extra card.
No, he went with the Aurelia instead. He was considering a Think Twice, I think. Made his Spirit.
So at this point, are we looking for a Searing Spear to try to close things out?
Searing Spear would be fantastic. He just drew a Restoration Angel, I believe. I would probably just blink that Augur and try and get the Spear before the Obsidat comes back. There's not really a lot of reason to not try that.
Get in for 2, blink it, and then you...
Oh, we're doing something
potentially
before we attack. What are we doing? Is flashbacking to Think Twice now. Also a fine play.
Yeah.
Finds land. He's got a couple of those still. You'll note he has 2 Supreme Verdicts in his hand, but Teddy has basically sidestepped the power of that card.
Through Obsidat.
Yeah, it's actually not that great post-board. One of the reasons is that the blue-white-red flash deck finds itself relying on Staticaster to answer Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls naturally good against Supreme Verdict, so you have this really awkward triangle where, you know, they play Lingering Souls to beat your Verdict, you play Staticaster to beat their Souls, but then your Verdicts aren't good anymore, the other creatures start getting powerful, and you wind up having to Verdict your own Staticasters, or just not cast Verdict. Neither of which is an ideal scenario.
So perhaps at some point in the future, the matchup evolves to actually sideboarding out the Supreme Verdicts in this matchup and try and find a better answer to Obsidat.
I don't think you definitely want to keep some of them just because it's a good answer to like a Reckoner High Priest kind of board, but they're not the best card by any stretch.
So we recast the dragon. It's going to kill the spirit, and the dragon's going to come in again.
Yep.
And looks like Tyrell doesn't have an answer to it this time, but at the end of the turn he's going to flash in the Restoration Angel and increase his clock.
It's a real threat. If he finds Searing Spear, our life totals are changed a little. I'm just going to go ahead and confirm that he finds Searing Spear, and that's the game. Yeah. I was pretty sure Searing Spear was still lethal. Teddy needed another turn of reprieve in order to dodge it, but he came very close to coming back there, as you saw.
Yeah, no, you were right. It was a lot closer than it looked, and that was the power of Obsidat backed by a Cavern of Souls to make sure that it gets down. It's a very hard to
big
deal
game.
with threat.
Interestingly enough, if Teddy had actually decided to jam his Obsidat attacks, heedless of Azorius Charm, might have been able to sneak it in.